There is a quiet moment that comes to many people, often without warning. It doesn't arrive during a crisis or a dramatic breakdown. It comes in the middle of an ordinary day. You might be standing in a kitchen, answering a familiar question the same way you always do, or listening to yourself speak in a meeting, using a voice you know well, or reassuring someone, again, that you're fine. And suddenly, something inside you pauses. Not because anything is wrong on the surface, but because something feels strangely distant. As if you are watching yourself perform a role you learned long ago. A role that once made sense. A role that kept things stable. But now feels slightly hollow. It's not panic. It's not sadness in a clean, dramatic way. It's closer to a quiet grief. The kind that doesn't cry out, but sits low in the chest. A recognition that whispers. This explains so much. Many people live their lives as someone they became out of necessity. Not by choice, not by desire, but by adaptation. They became who they had to be to stay safe, loved, or needed. And for a long time, that version worked. Until one day, it doesn't feel like the whole truth anymore. The question that eventually surfaces is not loud or confrontational. It's almost hesitant, as if asking permission to exist. Who am I beneath the version of myself I learned to become to survive? To understand this question, it helps to look gently at how identity actually forms. We like to believe we become who we are through preferences, talents, and decisions. But much of identity is shaped earlier, quietly, through emotional pressure. Through what was rewarded, what was discouraged, and what was required to keep connection intact. In many families, there was a role waiting to be filled. Someone had to be strong when others fell apart. Someone had to keep the peace. Someone had to achieve, to succeed, to bring pride or stability. Someone had to stay quiet, low maintenance, undemanding. Someone learned early that emotions were inconvenient, so they learned not to have many. These roles are not assigned with words. They are absorbed. A child notices what causes tension and what eases it. They sense when love feels conditional and when it feels secure. Slowly, without conscious thought, they shape themselves around what works. The strong one learns not to need help. The peacemaker learns to swallow their anger. The achiever learns that worth comes from performance. The low-maintenance child learns that asking for too much risks being a burden. The emotionally absent adult learns that distance feels safer than vulnerability. None of these identities are accidental. They are intelligent responses to the environment. They are solutions. And for a long time, they protect you. As you grow older, these adaptations become traits. People describe you as reliable, calm, independent, successful, easy to be around. You may even feel proud of these qualities. They helped you survive situations where other options didn't exist. But adaptation has a cost. Because when identity is built around survival, certain parts of the self are postponed. Not destroyed, not erased, postponed. Needs that didn't fit the role were set aside. Emotions that complicated stability were muted. Desires that felt risky were delayed. You learned who to be. You did not always learn who you were. This often becomes visible in subtle ways. You might feel responsible for everyone's emotional state, even when no one asked you to be. You might struggle to rest without guilt. You might feel restless after success, unsure why achievement doesn't bring the relief you expected. You might notice that intimacy feels strangely difficult, even when you crave it. In relationships, you may default to the familiar role without realizing it. You become the one who understands, the one who adapts, the one who doesn't ask for much. And when something feels off, you often assume the problem is you, that you're ungrateful, dramatic, or confused. But what's often happening is simpler and deeper. You are living from an identity that was shaped by pressure, not preference. The psychological mechanism behind this is adaptive identity formation. When emotional safety depends on being a certain way, the nervous system learns quickly. Approval becomes currency. Belonging becomes conditional. The self organizes around what keeps connection intact. Over time, this adaptation becomes invisible. It feels like personality. It feels like character. It feels like just who I am, until life slows down enough for the cracks to show. This is often when people describe feeling lost, despite appearing functional. They may say they don't know what they want anymore, or that they feel disconnected from themselves, or that something important is missing, but they can't name it. This confusion is not a failure. It is a signal. It means the identity that once kept you safe is no longer sufficient for the life you're living now. There is usually a moment, quiet, internal, when the realization lands. Not all at once, but gently. You see that the self you became was not false. It was necessary. It was intelligent. It was protective. But it was incomplete. This is the pivot point. The recognition that brings both relief and grief. Relief, because you finally understand why certain patterns have followed you for so long. Grief, because you see how much of yourself had to wait. You might realize that your strength was forged in a place where weakness wasn't allowed. That your independence grew where reliance felt dangerous. That your calmness developed where emotional expression carried consequences. None of this means you need to reject who you are. It means you are allowed to see the context that shaped you. When this understanding settles, something subtle shifts. You may begin to notice emotions that were once background noise. A quiet sadness. A small anger. A tender longing. Not because something new has appeared, but because something old no longer needs to hide as much. This stage can feel disorienting. When you stop living exclusively from survival, there is often a period of uncertainty. The old rules don't fully apply, but new ones haven't formed yet. You may feel less sure, more sensitive, more open. This is not regression. It is emergence. Integration doesn't happen through force or reinvention. It happens through recognition. Through allowing yourself to notice the difference between who you had to be and who you are becoming. Through holding both with respect. The self that adapted deserves gratitude, not shame. It carried you through what you couldn't control. And the parts that were postponed deserve patience, not pressure. They are not broken. They are cautious. As this awareness deepens, the sense of being lost often changes shape. It becomes less frightening and more meaningful. Less like a collapse, more like an opening. You begin to understand that confusion is not always a sign of failure. Sometimes it's the space where a more honest self can finally be felt. And this is where the story gently settles. If you feel lost after years of being capable, composed, or strong, it does not mean something is wrong with you. It means you are touching the edges of an identity that was built for survival, not wholeness. You are not broken for feeling this way. You are discovering the parts of you that were postponed, not erased.